If you want to participate, contact me at ordinarywomenpodcast@gmail.com. I'm sure you have great projects to brag about. You can also follow me and message me on Instagram at ordinarywomenpodcast, on Twitter at ordinarywomenpc, or on Facebook on the page Ordinary Women. Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Ordinary Women. Welcome Reham, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for letting me in.
Yes, so excited to have you. Can you start by giving us a quick introduction of yourself, please?
My name is Reham, just like you mentioned right now. And I live in Dubai. I'm originally from Pakistan, but I've been here my entire life in Dubai. My entire life, I've studied here. I did my university recently. I just graduated last year. And the ceremony recently happened because of COVID. It got postponed. And I am really passionate about tech. I learned about tech in my university. Like I did my bachelor's in tech, and now I'm working towards my career goal, which is becoming a data scientist. And a little bit more about myself is that I love drawing. I mean, I didn't pursue art, but I have this really strong passion for art and drawing. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
That's very cool. Do you have something unusual about yourself?
See, this is what I was gonna say. Something unusual about me is I laugh at the most randomest situation. Like I laugh at everything. For some, it's a very bad habit because in the most like bad circumstances, like not obviously not really bad circumstances, but in like really serious circumstances, I'm laughing, and everybody says like, "Yeah, why are you laughing?" And I have no clue. I have this thing that I find everything funny. So I need to control that. In certain situations, I'm not supposed to speak. I mean, not supposed to laugh as much as I do. So yeah, that's something unusual, and it's something I want to change. Something I really want to change.
It can be a very good quality as well,
And, in the office, everyone tells me, they're like, Reham, why are you always laughing? Like, they'll see me in the corridor, they're like, why are you laughing? I have no clue, but I'm just laughing. And it's really bad. But yeah, it's a good quality as well. But in certain situations, it's not, because it's something serious. And I'll lose it. I'll be like, I can't control my laughter. So yeah.
Well, at least I'm sure that you bring some,
positivity,
sort of good mood. Yeah, exactly. Around you.
I hope it's not annoying. I hope.
No, I mean, that's a good problem to have, isn't it? Laughing too much.
It's the way you look at it, right? Some people think I'm crazy. Like they'll think, why is she laughing so much? And I have no clue. So when I'm sad, they'll be like, when I'm sad, like the other day, I was like, not sad, but like I wasn't laughing as much. Someone's like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything is okay. It doesn't mean just because I laugh all the time, it's like I'm going to be laughing 24/7. Sometimes I don't want to laugh. So they'll be like, are you okay? Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry. So I get that attention when I'm not laughing as much as well. So.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's very cool. And I'd like to start the podcast by asking, was there a moment or an event in your life when you realized that you are a woman?
When you say that, the first thing I think is maybe something negative at the workplace or something like that. That's the first thing that, triggers when you read or hear such a message that was there every time you realized you're a woman. But thankfully, I haven't faced anything yet in the workplace where I can feel like, oh, I'm being paid less, or, like I know it's very common in like companies and stuff where it's like that. But thankfully, in my situation, I haven't. But if I think in a positive way also, I can't really think of something where I did realize. But if I think of one situation now that's coming to my head is, when you're going on the streets and like, although like usually I'm like fully covered, like, some people say it's because of your clothes that you get stares from guys, or like they catcall you or something like that, or they harass you. A lot of times on the street in Dubai, like it's really unusual, but it happens in the street, is I get some kind of like, the guys, they say stuff and everything, and I tend to ignore, but I kind of, it's like, this doesn't happen with guys, right? So it does happen, but not as much as it happens with women. So in those circumstances, yes, it does remind me that, I need to be like, what do you call this? Some people say you should not be so, you should not respond back to them and everything. But I always make sure that I put them in their place and tell them that this is not right to do. What you're doing is wrong. And in fact, I've even called the police on one of them something really personal, but I don't know why I just shared that. But I've called the police on one of them. So I really don't feel safe. And I feel like if someone's doing something wrong, you should, that second itself, no matter if you're a guy or a girl, get them in their place. Some people say, you're a woman, you should not like respond back. They'll hit you and you won't be able to fight yourself back. I'm like, no, it's fine. I don't care. Like I will fight if something wrong is happening with me. So they said something, some guy said something to me and I called the police on him. He left. I don't know if the police could catch him or not, but I called the police on him. I was like, there was a guy that was harassing me and stuff like that. So that was one time that I did realize. But other than that, I think I don't, like, thankfully, I haven't faced anything or nothing has happened as serious that I would, think that, oh, like I'm being underrepresented or something like that. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, like, and this is so brave. Honestly, I never dare to do anything, like, unless I know that physically they can't come
Yeah.
to me. But apart from that, I'm always like, yeah, this is so brave to like call the police and come them out. Like, go you.
I was not going to because I was scared that because he ran away, right? Like, now what am I going to do? Like, he ran away. But then I reminded myself that, okay, even though he ran away, like, it's my duty to like call him out, because if he ran away from me, he's going to do it to other people and just run away. So if the police can do their part, because he did it like twice, so that means he is in this area. So I was like, if he comes again and he does it to someone else, then I will be responsible because I didn't raise my voice, right? So I thought of that and I said, okay, no matter how less of an impact this can create, because he's already gone, they can't do anything. I was like, I'll do my part, which means I feel satisfied that I did something. So that's why I did it, because I was like, at the end of the day, I will feel bad if this happens to someone else and I will be held responsible. Like, no one will say something to me, but I'll feel bad that, I didn't do anything to stop it from happening.
Yeah, so. No, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Although
and
obviously, like, it's not your responsibility, but yeah, I see what you mean.
I hope like nothing like this ever happens with anybody. And alhamdulillah, like, God's blessing, but nothing has ever happened with me as well, like serious. It's pretty normal, right? That they just like catcall and stuff everywhere. So we just need to be strong enough to like call them out and tell them that this is not okay. Like, you can't just do this with everybody.
Yeah,
because it sometimes becomes such a norm that nobody even like does anything about it. So
yeah. Also because it's so scary. Yeah. And what you were saying just before about, the way you're dressed, really reminded me, because at the end of the day, as you were saying, it's like, it's really not about the way you're dressed, because however you are. And it reminded me of, there was an exhibition, I don't know if you heard about it, I think it was called What Were You Wearing? I remember that it was in a university, but it was people, women, I think mainly, displaying the clothes they were wearing the day they were raped. And it was like very intense, but you could really see that it's never about the clothes.
It's never,
obviously,
no.
although,
You're so right, because I'll tell you a story actually. When I was young, someone always told me that, the more you cover, the less it's going to happen to you. I was told this, okay? And I always thought, okay, and at that point I wasn't covering as much. So I was like, okay, cool. When I grow up, maybe I'll start covering and nothing's going to happen to me. I am telling you, 10 times, maybe 20 times more it's happened to me when I started covering rather than when I was not covered. I was so in shock. Until today, I'm in shock when I see it. I'm like, I'm fully covered and still it's happening. Like, it does not matter. Because if a certain person comes with a certain mindset to do something, they don't care what you're wearing. They don't care how you are, how you look. They just want to do something wrong, so they're just going to do it. They don't think twice on what you're wearing and everything. It's just a bad person is a bad person. You can't really change that. So I was so shocked, because I was like, oh, when I start covering this is going to happen. Obviously, it does reduce it to a certain extent. Maybe, I'm not sure. But for me, in my scenario, that wasn't the case. Guys, bad people will stay bad people. Like, there's nothing that's going to change them. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you react, all that will not affect them. If they're bad, they're just going to stay bad. So,
yeah, completely.
It's just about the person's mindset. Right?
Yeah, completely. Thank you for sharing. But let's talk more about women. Did you grow up with any female role model?
Yes. Now that you say this, my mom just left the house, so I would be a little shy saying this in front of her. But it's my mom for sure. It's my mom. Like, when I look at my mom, I'm like, wow, like she is such, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, everybody says their mom, but I am telling you, I always tell my mom, I think you're the best mom in the world. And I mean it when I say that, because I'm like, how can someone, I mean, no offense to anybody else's mom, but I feel like my mom is just the way she like handles like pressure and stress. Like she has so many, I mean, every mother has so many responsibilities, right? Like they have to attend to so many things, your kids, your work. If you're a working mom, right? Your work, your kids, their future, and you have to divide the responsibilities. Obviously there you have your dad to help you with the money and stuff, but still a mother has like these separate set of responsibilities that come with, just being a mother. And besides having all those responsibilities, she's always just smiling. And I am looking at her sometimes, I'm like, how? Like I feel bad like when something small like doesn't work out, like something very small doesn't work out. And I look at her and something big will happen, but she'll be like, it's fine, like God will take care of it, or like something will work out. And she'll just smile and just, and sometimes she even like comes in the room and she starts dancing out of nowhere, like out of just joy of just dancing. And I'm like, how does someone with so many problems or so much stress on their head take so much and then but give out so much positivity? How does that happen? Because I can't do that. So when I look at it, I'm like, I want to be like that in the future. And I was also thinking of one more thing, that a lot of people say that they want husbands like their dad. I told my mom the other day, I want a husband like who has characteristics of you, like the characteristics that she has, the respect, the love, the care that she gives to people, her mother, like my grandmother, like the love that she gives her, how she takes care of everything. It just amazes me. So I'm like, mommy, like you are like amazing. And I always tell her this because I'm just in awe of like how she is. So I think I want to be like her I mean, inshallah, when I grow up even more, I want to like continue being like her and help her out in whatever situations I can. So just a bit of
That's so sweet. Your mom sounds like an amazing person. She sounds
everybody's
so
mom is
cool.
amazing. No, I hope I'm pretty sure your mom is amazing too, and I'm pretty sure everybody's listening, their moms are amazing too. But you know that thing, that special love that you have for your own mother, she looks like the best to you in the whole world.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel when I see my mom. Like she is just so positive. And I'm not like saying this because she's my mom or something. She genuinely, like every person she meets, they always tell her that she's so positive. And I'm like, I can't be like that. So I wish I can, like, 0.1% also be like her. Then I'll feel like I've lived a good life.
Oh, that's so nice. And what do you think she taught you?
Um so many things. Now I'm thinking which one I should. Like I said, I think I could say a mix of positivity and patience. I think with patience, and actually with positivity comes patience. I think they're both, I think, parallel, like side to side. I think she has, those are the one of her strongest qualities, and something that I wish I can improve on myself, because they're one of the qualities that I cannot grasp as much as the way she has done it. Like no matter what happens, she's always like so, like the biggest problem will also happen, she'll be so calm about it. And from the, like, she won't even tell me like what the problem is, but you can like, and you won't even notice that she's having any problem. Later on, like weeks later, you realize, oh, something was happening at the back. Like she won't tell you, right? Like for example, something would break in her, I mean, something would break her heart or something, she won't tell us. But later on, a few weeks later, you'd come to know from someone else and you'd be like, what? And she'd hide it from us because she doesn't want to hurt us. Like, who does that? That is like amazing. So patience, and I think positivity, because when I see her coming in the room and dancing, like just like out of the sheer joy of just dancing and just being happy, I'm like, how? Like parents should be given some high award for like what they do and how positive they are and what kind of impact they create on their kids. So I think those two qualities is what she's taught me, and I hope I can improve on them. I hope I can improve on them in my life. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's amazing. That's so sweet.
But I mean it. I
Um,
genuinely mean it.
yeah, I mean, the way you talk about it, you sound like you mean it. I don't think anyone can fake that way.
Oh God. Anyway.
And my next question was gonna be, do you currently have any female role model? So I guess still her. Do you have
Yes.
any other current female role model?
Um. Hmm. Honestly, I don't watch that many movies or or that many shows. To be very honest with you, I have zero patience. Like I told you, I don't want to work for my patience. I can't watch something more than 10 minutes. I'll watch YouTube videos because I can't watch Netflix. I can't watch movies and stuff because I'll just forward the plot. I just want to know what happened in the end. Oh, okay, someone married someone and they broke up. Okay, khalas. Like I don't want to watch after that because I know the plot. But for some, I don't like, a lot of people have the role models as like some actor, actress. For me, that's not the case. So I'm thinking anybody else, maybe a teacher. No, honestly, no. It's, the thing is just my mom. I think she's the only woman that has a very close impact on me. I don't think, I mean, all teachers and every person, like, I have two sisters as well. Like they all are like amazing, but I don't think they've created such a big impact that I can think that they are my current role models. So I think my mom is still like the one that I want to be like, and I always tell her this, like, I want to be like you in the future. So yeah, I think it's just
Cool. How sweet. That's amazing. And do you think that the lack of representation of women in society had an impact on you?
I think, okay, I don't really know how to answer this question, but what I think, and I've been thinking about it so much, is, still like till today, like women representation, there's Women's Day and everything. It's so pushed hard because still in so many places, it's not okay to, like, for example, drive somewhere, or for women to drive, or it's not okay for women to get out of the house and work. And in so many places, in very developed places also, like for example, in, like, from where I'm from, Pakistan, and from like a lot of villages, I would say, like obviously in the front countries like Karachi, and like, there are cities where it's way more advanced and just almost similar to how the Western world works. But in a lot of places in villages, they still there's a lot of restrictions on women. I have no clue why. It's like things have changed. I don't know why it's very hard for people to like think forward about women and stuff. And I think because of the way those villages work, nothing in fact has impacted me. But I feel like when those girls, like when they want to like speak out for themselves, they can't, because the society around them have seen that that's how the women in their society work. Like they don't leave the house, they don't work, or all they do is like their job is just to cook or something like that. And that's not how actually it should be, but because it's around them, it's like that. If they ever want to like feel like, they want to work and be independent and represent that they can also do something with their career and their life, they're not able to do so because the society around them has always seen that this is how the cultural norms are. So it's not really the society's, it's not really the parents' fault or like the village's fault. It's just that's how things have not moved forward from like point zero. Like it's still there, it's still stuck on the point that okay, women can't do anything and men should be like the household, like it should be equal, right? I do understand both men and women have different qualities and different strengths and weaknesses and everything, but at the end of the day, everybody should be given a right to learn and educate themselves. So I think the lack of representation in those remote villages should be way more, so that those women can actually come forward and speak out for themselves without being scared that their parents are going to tell them, like, you know what, you can't do anything because women can't leave the house or anything like that. So nothing personally for me, but this is what I've seen and how it's impacted other people. And I hope it stops because it really hurts. Like I feel bad because I can imagine myself, if I was in that situation, I would really feel uncomfortable every day of my life. I'd be like, I want to get out. I want to do something with my life, but I can't because the village and the society works like that. So I hope this really improves in the coming few years in the remote places.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for like sharing. It's true that like I come from France where it's not at all like that, and sometimes I tend to forget that we still have a lot of work to do for these women.
And I hope I can do something. I don't know if I can do something sitting over here, to be very honest with you, because in Dubai it's not like that, right? Like, Dubai is very far from all those kind of remote villages thinking and everything. Like it's almost near to how everything works in the world, right? So in Dubai, obviously, alhamdulillah, I haven't faced anything as such. My parents are pretty open to everything. I can do everything here, but I still see on news and in videos and stuff that how remote places work, and it really hurts. Like in all villages around the world, you take an African country or any country, even Brazil, or like any remote villages where there's not much of development yet, it happens and it kind of hurts. So
Yeah, completely. Yeah, you mentioned that it's not the case for you, and I'd like to hear more about like a project or like achievement that you've done and that you want to focus on in this discussion. Do you want to like present what you want to talk about?
so basically this project that I would say I'm very grateful that I actually got myself into it. Although in the start I thought I couldn't do it. Was basically, this was at the time of I made an app, not an app but a prototype of an idea. So I have been like participating in a couple of hackathons here and there over my university journey. And at the end, I had to like during the coronavirus like pandemic, I was doing some competitions and stuff, and I was like, why don't I come up with some idea that in some way that I can have an impact on the pandemic, because it's a time of solutions and it's the time of actually coming up with ideas to solve problems, right? This is the time because the world is actually going through something. So I did my research and stuff like that, and I came up with an idea after the research to kind of like improve on something. So I made a prototype of this, and so I'll tell you the step-by-step process. So in the start, when I was researching, like I was looking up a couple of research papers and everything, and I found out that currently, like the way clinical trials, and this was at the time when coronavirus had just started, so they were starting to like find vaccines or any like drugs that they can use as medicines to improve the situation of the patient. And they had this at that point, like even when it started in China, they wanted to like do something where they can like find a vaccine or something where they can actually test it on patients in China, because they knew it was an epidemic. They didn't know it was a pandemic at that time in Jan 2020. So I was like, okay, cool. But what I realized, what the turning point in understanding is like where the project actually turned around, and I was like, okay, this is a good idea, was where I read that in China, when they were actually going to start the clinical trial where they wanted to like develop the drug. And basically a clinical trial is something where you get patients and you want to like to test and try the drug and the vaccine before it's gone out to people, right? And that was very necessary during the pandemic, because you can't really have vaccines tested on globally to everybody without actually knowing that they're effective. So they were going to start it in China, but because of the lack of people that were coming forward with the symptoms that they wanted. So when you're testing the drug, you need to have some sort of symptoms from before. Like, for example, you should be someone who's already had the COVID before. Like, I'm just giving a random example. I'm not really sure. I'm not medically apt to like say all these things, but I'm giving an example. For example, you could have someone who's like who's like pregnant, or you want someone who has cough for a consistent of 2 weeks, and these such criteria need to be there to test the vaccine, for example. And finding such people with such exact fitting criteria was very hard, because the pandemic had just started the epidemic had just started in China. So they closed the clinical trial. They didn't do it. And I was like, oh God, like they couldn't do a clinical trial because no patients could show up to the clinical trial and, get themselves registered to test the drug on them. So here's where I was like, okay, why is that a problem? Like, why are people not coming up? And I tried to understand, and the reason was because there's such strong criteria that is put by the hospital, so they can't find these kind of patients in that area. So I came up with this idea that basically you can use an app or to cut out all the medical knowledge that I just said. Just to say in summary, I built up a prototype that basically connects hospitals to patients and helps them find patients with those exact symptoms using artificial intelligence. So I'll have, there are certain security issues, obviously, but I looked on those and I focused on those points and everything. And I presented this idea where I presented a prototype on how hospitals can connect with patients through the database of they have database of patients. They can connect and find, for example, so now they have to manually find someone who has cough for 6 days, and someone who has fever and everything. They have to find these through records of, have you seen those records in like the files and stuff that clinics have, like those small clinics that have files of patients? So imagine going through those files and trying to find someone who has all this criteria that you're trying to match. It takes hours and hours of time, right? So I basically created this prototype where you can just automatically search the criteria you want, and the app will recommend people who almost come close to that. So you can call them, get in contact with them, and easily have the clinical trial. So that whole recruitment time is cut off. So this is the project that I presented. Initially, it was my thesis for university, like for my before I was graduating, like this was my final year project, but it didn't go anywhere. And I was really sad because I tried to present this in 2 competitions and it didn't work out. But I knew this was like a idea that I wanted to continue like developing on and, doing something about it, because the pandemic was still there until 2020. I mean, it's still there till today, but it was on high even last year. And I finally like actually won a competition where I think it was last year, September. I presented this to an international competition and they really liked the idea. So they gave me a grant. For the first time, I have got a grant from the Canadian government to actually develop the idea. So this is something I'm really proud of, that I actually didn't give up. Like I trusted that this idea had some potential and I went forward.
Thank you so much for sharing this. What kept you going?
I think because I wanted this to actually, be validated that this is like an idea that can, because unless someone invests or gives you that attention, nobody's going to like think this is a good idea, right? So I wanted someone to look at it and tell me that, you know what, this has potential. We're going to give you the money to, because to actually build this idea, I need lots and lots of help from the government, like lots of help in terms of financial help, as well as like the security concerns that come with it. I need a lot of government help. So when I got the help, the aid, that initial aid that I got, it really motivated me, because I was like, okay, then I can actually get somewhere with this idea. And when I was not getting it from somewhere, I was like, no, I have to keep going. I have to keep going because I need the help from the government. I cannot proceed because I'm not financially up, because it will take a lot of money. So I need to save up to actually build this idea. So as long as I'm going to continue this idea and presenting it and I get grants, I can actually get this idea into the market. I don't know when, but hopefully if I get the help from the government, then I can go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, I really hope you do. And how long was there between the first time that you like thought about it and the time that you were able to like have the first step, like act on it for the first time?
Okay. I think I found this idea out in, let's say, May 2020. I think May 2020. Yeah, May 2020. And I was reading research papers on China, right? So at that time, it was still like very less, but obviously it was a global thing. But I read the research paper on like of China and on when this happened in Jan 2020. So yeah, May 2020 up until Jan 2021, I think. I was continuously like researching this and actually like convincing myself that it's a good idea to go forward with. And then in Jan 2021, I think I just put up a presentation together with all the stuff that I've researched, and I presented it to a local university over here to just see if they're interested. And I didn't get a very positive response, but I obviously like I took some of the first step that was necessary to actually get to where I wanted to be, right? Like I took the first step of presenting it and actually putting it out there. So I think that was around a year, like you'd say less than a year, but like 11 months that I actually got it out. So yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. And was there anyone who had an impact on it?
Not yet. I hope it gets to the point where it does create a direct impact on like the people that I'm targeting, which is the hospitals and the medical clinics and everything. So I hope it directly impacts them and reduces the time and everything. But as of now, since it's still in development stage, it hasn't impacted them, but definitely has impacted me, because I felt really grateful and happy ever since, because I'm like, okay, that means this idea has potential, so I can take it forward.
Definitely cool. So looking forward to see like where that goes.
Oh, I didn't tell you the name of the project. Oh my God. See, this
Oh
is
my
what
God, yes. Sorry. And I'm just like, yeah, fully focused on listening to you. I didn't even ask.
No, I'm really sorry, because I just went into the full story. The name of the project is clin.ai. So like it's a short form, but basically it meant like clinics and then artificial intelligence, because like the basic motto of the app is to use AI to do all this efficient calculation and try to find the patients and everything. So clin.ai, that's the name of the idea.
Cool. So nice. And what challenges have you faced so far?
I mean, if you think about it, the challenges that I faced personally to get this idea was to like, if you look at it in the idea perspective, no challenge as of yet. But in terms of me getting the idea out there were lots of like challenges, obviously, right? Because nobody believed in it from the start. So when I presented in two different places, they didn't really like give me that. Obviously, at different places, different people, because it's a very subjective thing, right? Like how people judge you on your idea, it's based on the investor. Some investors might like it, some investors might not like it. So challenges, yeah. So challenges that I faced was like trying to like trust myself that I can actually get this like out there. So that was like one challenge. I had to keep reminding myself that I'm doing this, because you have to trust yourself to actually like that everybody's idea. I always tell this everybody's idea is a good idea, Nobody's idea is a bad idea. No innovation is a bad innovation. It's just a very subjective thing, because some people might like your innovation, some people might not like it. So you need to always tell yourself that every idea is a good idea, as long as it's solving a problem. You're solving a problem with anything, even with your podcast. If you're solving a problem, it's a good idea. It doesn't matter how much impact it's creating, because and eventually it will come to the point where it's creating impact. It will be a slow growth sometimes, and it'll be a fast growth sometimes. So I always tell this to myself, that you have to like trust yourself, that even though three people did not like it, fourth person will like it. So that was the idea.
Cool. And was there something on the contrary that was easier than you thought it would have been?
I think, I mean, I think the confidence that I got in myself, I think I did not expect myself to be this confident to do it myself. Like I was alone in this whole idea. Like I didn't bring any team with me, which I think is very necessary, that moving forward, I will have like a proper team helping me on this. But I thought I couldn't do it on myself. Like in the start when I was doing it on myself, I was like, I can't like take this idea, because usually people like look at teams when there are 3 or 4 people, like, okay, this is a good idea. Like, you know, we want to invest in this because it has a good mix of IT, business, and, you know, like those 3, 4 different things that are that's supposed to be there in a business. So going alone, I was like, okay, I don't know if it's going to work out, but like, thankfully I was good. Like they saw the potential in the idea. So they like gave some in grants so I can build the idea. So yeah.
Cool. And why are you proud of yourself for it?
I don't know why. You know, when you ask me why I'm proud, I feel like I should be humble and not say anything.
No, like go for it. It's like, why are you proud?
Yeah, I know. That's what I Am Remarkable is all about. Like you should
Yeah.
be proud of yourself. So when I look back, I'm like, okay, I was able to do something that initially I really thought I was not able to do, like things on my own and everything. Like I won't be able to win anything, and you know, like nothing's gonna work out because it's not a good idea, because at times it didn't win, right? So I was like, oh, that's not gonna work out. And then I had to remind myself that I'm not doing this for winning. Like I'm doing this to actually get this idea out there and get the help that I need. So I don't know if I say proud, but I'm like really, really grateful that I did not give up. And I trusted myself. Like I said from the start, you have to trust yourself and the amount that you can do and that you will be able to do if you just trust yourself. Because that what do you call that? That anxiety and that everything just goes because you have confidence in yourself, so nobody can break that wall against you. Like so many people will say so many things, but if you trust yourself, then you will go ahead even if everything around you is like telling you, no, you can't do it and everything. So as cliche as it sounds, you should trust yourself always. So I'm proud that I was able to trust myself through this entire process of this project.
That's so cool and so wise. And yeah, so much to be proud of, honestly. We're reaching the end of my questions and the end of this episode. Is there anything that we haven't mentioned during the podcast and that you would like to add?
No, I don't know if I missed anything, but I will just to end it, I will say that I'm very happy that you're doing this. Like it's giving me confidence to open my own podcast. So that's one thing I wanted to say. I didn't mention it. But like you should be like talking to other people and being confident and breaking the barrier of like, you know, talking to more people and getting to connect with more people and, you know, getting to know their stories, because that's really interesting and you just want to know like how other people are and then get inspired from that. So that's something that you and I inshallah want to do in the future. So that's one good thing. And second thing that I wanted to say was I had said this in like the previous competition, that the competition I was talking about that I won, right? Like I told them, I had mentioned, they asked me for one quote over there and they posted it and I was like, okay, wow. Like I didn't even remember I said that because I have a really short-term memory. I didn't remember, but they posted about it that I said that trust yourself, that you're capable to make a change. And I actually believe in that because like I said, no idea is a bad idea. Everybody can make a change in a different, it's not even in terms of ideas, in terms of anything you do, you can inspire like anybody. Like you said, like I said, what you are doing kind of inspired me as well. So trust yourself that you're capable of making change in like whatever aspect of you're doing. So for example, me laughing also, like I said in the starting of the podcast, maybe that like inspires someone to be more, I don't know, laugh in the office more. I don't know. So just trust yourself that you are capable to do like, you know, something like that you want to do. Just trust yourself. That's it. That's all that matters, because at the end of the day, you are your own biggest barrier. So if you break that down and you tell yourself, I can do it, then nobody can stop you.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Thank you. Thank you as well.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing a bit of your story with me and with everyone who's listening. And yeah, as always,
Thank
we
you
in
so
this podcast, the guest gets the last word, so the mic is yours.
everybody who's listening. Thank you so much if you reached till here. Thank you so much for doing something where I can talk about my story, because this has been something of one of my dreams, like to just talk about my something that I've done. Although I hope to achieve more, but just talk about something a little bit that I've done to someone else. Like it was one of my smaller dreams, I guess. So yeah, thank you so much.